How's it going, everyone? It's Sam. Today we have to talk about the CPI because it just came out, and I also want to give a warning partway through the video. It'll be very clear what I'm talking about when I talk about it towards the end of the video and why you should heed this warning. But first, let's look at the market. Let me refresh this because we just got the CPI. Now, I'm publishing this minutes after the CPI. If you like that and you want to get this time-sensitive content, hit subscribe underneath the video and turn on the bell notification so you know right when I post a video. And before this, I actually sent a message out to the Patreon telling them exactly what happened with CPI. So definitely join the Patreon if you want to know what I'm buying and selling and get some real-time updates. Now, Bitcoin fluctuated a little bit when the CPI came in. If we pull up the 1 minute here, obviously we kind of hit bottom a few days ago, bounced off of the same line that we had been hitting before, the same support. And when CPI came out, like a lot of other assets, the asset fell down really drastically in the first minute and then started to pop back up. Really interesting. And you can see something similar on Ethereum. You can see on the day chart where we're going, but on the 1 minute here, same thing. Fell down pretty drastically, now popping up. It's really interesting. We'll take a look at the CPI here in a moment. The ETH Bitcoin valuation touched on this line, and this is yesterday, but I'm still watching this to buy more ETH. But at this point, it's still holding above. The Bitcoin dominance still making an uptrend, but with the current move, with ETH moving up even more than Bitcoin, it's actually coming down a little bit. Tesla in the pre-market did the same thing, down, then up, now starting to level off. Now, I think this is probably the market digesting what's going to happen, probably investors trying to move around the probabilities of 50 basis points, 25 basis points, 0% increases, just trying to get a handle on it, reading through the report. Now, this is what came out. CPI month over month was 0.5%. The estimate was 0.5%. Prior was negative 0.1%. And then revised to 0.1%. CPI was 6.4 year over year. The estimate was 6.2. The prior was 6.5. CPI X food and energy, 0.4% month over month. Estimate was 0.4%. Prior, 0.4%. CPI X food and energy, 5.6% year over year. Estimate was 5.5% year over year. And then prior was 5.7. So still, investors are reading through this. Really, one of the biggest contributing factors was a 0.7% month over month increase to housing. A lot of investors, a lot of people think that housing is going to start coming down here soon. So maybe that's part of the reason that the market fell down drastically right away and now it's starting to return because people realize, hey, one of the biggest contributing factors, one of the biggest weightings is moving up a lot, but should move down here soon. And we're still getting decreases month over month. So maybe investors are starting to digest and think, okay, maybe this isn't as bad as it seems, but I could be wrong. Now, there are some estimations on what will happen depending on what came out this morning. JP Morgan says that because we're at 6.4%, we should see the market down about 0.75 to 1.5%. I would not be surprised by that. In the pre-market here, you can see just before the market actually priced in the CPI, this is at 826. The NASDAQ futures were at 0.34%. Now they're actually at 0.37%. This is 10 minutes delayed, so I guess we would have to wait a few more minutes to see how they price in the CPI now. But we'll have to see how the market reacts throughout the day. Now, I think overall, this is kind of a lagging indicator. The past reports aren't necessarily indicative of what's happening today in the economy. Like housing is very lagging. So it could just continue to come down. I think that's what it's going to do. I think CPI is going to continue to come down, and eventually it will be something that we're not even worried about. Like a lot of narratives in the past, it kind of just slowly fades away, and then we don't even think about it. Now, it does have a great effect on crypto and the stock market. And as you can see, we have seen some liquidations coming in, 57 million in the last 24 hours. Not a huge amount compared to what we've seen recently, but be on the lookout for this. This could cause the market to move pretty drastically. And I would have some money ready. I would have some money ready just in case the market really does take a big dip. Today is my DCA day for the stock market, so I'm excited to pick up some deals hopefully there. Now, I do want to talk about Binance for a moment here. Yesterday, we talked about how Paxos was told by the New York Department of Financial Services to cease minting new BUSD. And as a result, BUSD market cap will only decrease over time. If you haven't seen that video, definitely check it out. It's just from yesterday. And as you can see, BUSD, the market cap, has fallen down pretty drastically in the last 24 hours. You can see a pretty steady market cap here. Even if we go further back, you can see it did fluctuate a bit, but it was pretty steady before this announcement. And then it fell about $500 million overnight. And now there's news that Binance is seeing a huge amount of redemptions. Binance withdrawals and BUSD redemptions surge post Paxos crackdown. Now, this is to be expected, but this is 788 million over the last 24 hours, and I've actually seen reports now over 1 billion. I want to be careful here because I think Binance is probably the best crypto exchange out there in terms of safety, but they still are under fire right now. Obviously, they halted US dollar withdrawals on Binance, not Binance US, but Binance about a week ago because they couldn't get another bank to work with them basically in a short period of time. Now they have this crackdown on their stablecoin. You can call it, not their stablecoin, but it's what a lot of the different cryptos trade against on their platform, and they license out the name, so it is pretty much their stablecoin, even if they don't issue it. And we have to remember too, a lot of their reserves are in their own currency. They had 23 billion in BUSD. This is back in November of 2022. 23 billion in BUSD, 6.4 billion in Binance coin. Now Paxos says that they have all the funds backed one-to-one and they're audited, which I believe that's probably the case. But at this point, Binance is under a lot of scrutiny, and I would be careful. I would be careful if you have crypto on Binance, and this isn't to spread FUD. This just is common sense, right? If there's risk and you don't have to take the risk, there's no reason to take the risk, right? So I use Binance personally, but I move my crypto off after I use it. Like I've said a handful of times, it's like a public bathroom. Get in, do your business, get out. And I think now is probably a good time to do so. Now, CZ talks about just shedding off the FUD basically this year. That's one of his goals, is to just let the FUD drip off of him and continue building, which I think is a good motto. But for the rest of us, I don't think there's a real need to keep your crypto on Binance. If you want a hardware wallet, there are links to it underneath the video. You can get a discount, I believe, if you use those links. And even if you don't want to pay for a wallet, I think it makes more sense to have a hot wallet, such as Trust Wallet or MetaMask. I think that makes a lot more sense than leaving your crypto on an exchange, the majority of your crypto. I don't know why anyone would keep the majority on their crypto on the exchange now, unless you have under maybe $500. I don't think it's really worth it, especially after all the massive bankruptcies of 2022. Some of the most compliant companies, some of the most well-capitalized companies going bankrupt, including FTX, hedge fund 3 Arrows Capital, BlockFi, Core Scientific, Voyager Digital, Celsius, Babel Finance, HODLNOT, and ZipMex. There are just too many risks out there in keeping your crypto on an exchange. It's not really worth it in the end, especially if you can take it off. So just a warning to the wise, but of course not spreading FUD. I'm not trying to say anything bad will happen to Binance, and I hope nothing bad does happen to Binance, but just a word of caution. Let me know your thoughts about CPI underneath the video. Do you think we're heading down throughout the day? Do you think Binance is in trouble? Let me know in the comment section. Again, not trying to spread fear, uncertainty, and doubt, just trying to spread what's actually happening. Thank you so much. Hit the subscribe button if you want to see future videos, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.